Alright, welcome to another installment of Chan Academy. Nothing funny today. I couldn't think of anything, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing I have are your two Chan Academy questions. The first one is the square root of 24, and the other one is take this standard form quadratic and find the zeros. Okay, so you're going to find the zeros by using the quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm going to start off with A for you guys, and I'm going to do both of these guys. Just really step by step for you guys. That way, hopefully when you're doing the homework, you'll see it, and it'll make more sense to you guys. So let's start with A, and the reason why I'm doing A is it's something that's going to come up a lot in this quadratic formula. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out what the square root of 24 really is. The square root of 24 really is the same thing as 4 times 6, right? Now, the square root of 4 times 6 is also the same thing as the square root of 4. Let me start again. So this is the same thing as the square root of 4 times 6, which is also the same thing as the square root of 2 times 2 times 6, which I'm going to write as 3 times 2. Okay. So what square roots tell us is that we're taking out pairs, like pairs of shoes, right? Every time you see a left shoe and a right shoe and they're there, you can pull them out and bring them outside. So I'm going to take these twos, because there's two of them, and I'm going to bring them outside. So I'm going to take them outside, and it's going to go outside. So that's going to leave me with 2 square root of 3 times 2. But there's no pairs now. Now you have like a left shoe of 3 and a right shoe of 2. But you can't wear a size 3 shoe and a size 2 shoe together, right? They're different shoes. So you don't want to, you can't take anything else out. So now you're just left with 2 square root of 6. And that's how you simplify radicals. In other words, simplifying your square roots. Okay? So there's A, and I did it for you guys. Alright, so for B, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the quadratic equation, which is minus B plus or minus, and if you guys don't remember, it's the negative boy who couldn't decide whether or not he wanted to go to a party, but he decided to B squared, and he missed out on 4 awesome chicks. I guess if you want to go the other way, it could be, cowboys. Alright, so the negative boy who couldn't decide whether or not to go to a party, well, he was squared, so he missed out on 4 awesome chicks, and the party was over at 2 a.m. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug everything in. I know this is I'm going to go ahead and write what A, B, and C are. So A is going to be -1, right? If there's a negative in front of the x squared, my B is going to be +3. And my C is -2. And this would be like your first step every single time when you're doing the quadratic formula. Anything that deals with either the discriminant, quadratic formula, or finding axis of symmetry. Anything that deals with, take the standard equation and you want to do something with it. You typically want to write down A, B, and C. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, and this is, step 1 or step 2. Let's go ahead and write it out. So it's going to be -1, right? Because you have negative B, so it's -1. And what Mr. Chi said, what Ms. Bishop will say, is that you always want to just write the parentheses out first. So maybe I'll do that first, and I'll just have you guys fill it in. So it's going to be something squared -4 times something times something. And that's all over 2 times something. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. I know what b is. B is 3. So there's my b. And did I use -1? I'm sorry, that shouldn't be right. You guys are going to make fun of me later. I know. Alright, so here we go. It should be 3. Why won't this go back to the brush? Alright, 3. Alright, then later we have minus 4a. Where's the a? A is -1. And c. C is -2. Okay, and then 2a. A is going to be -1. So I filled everything in. Now I'm just going to simplify it, make it a little smaller. And I'm just going to switch to black here. It's going to be -3 plus or minus the square root of, what's 3 squared? That's 9. -4 times -1 is +4. +4 times -2, -8. So -8. All over 2 times -1, that's -2. Okay. So now I'm going to even break this even farther. This is going to give me -3 plus or minus the square root of 1. But the square root of 1 is just 1, and we'll write that in another step. So it's going to be -3 plus or minus 1 over -2. Okay, so that gives me 2 answers. That gives me that I can either have -3 plus 1, that's -2. -2 divided by -2 is going to be +1. There's your first 0. And the other one, -3 minus 1, that's going to be -4. -4 divided by -2 is going to be +2. So here are your 2 zeros. And just to make sure, I'm going to take this, plug into Desmos, and show you guys. Where are you, Desmos? It was -x squared plus 3x minus 2. Alright, so here we go, looking at it. We found our vertex, and you can either do that from x equals -b over 2a, and I would just say b equals 3 and a equals -1, and you can see right there that would be my axis of symmetry right there. Okay, but let's go ahead and just not talk about that right now. Let's just deal with this. So looking at this, we can see that the zeros are at 2 and 1, and that's exactly what we got from using the quadratic formula. And just, one more thing I just want to say is that if you look at the quadratic formula, you have 2 parts to it. You have this part right here, minus b over 2a, and then you have this other part right here, which is the discriminant that is square rooted. This makes up the quadratic formula because essentially you're saying x equals minus b divided by 2a, and that's your axis of symmetry. A equals -1. That's your axis of symmetry, and what you're doing is you're going down the axis of symmetry and you're adding or subtracting that square root of b squared minus 4ac. Okay, so that's what's really happening in the quadratic formula. Okay, so that's it for Chan Academy. Hope this helps. Stepwise, it's just write down A, B, C, put it in. That's step 2. After that, you need to just clear out all the parentheses. So you're going to square this. You're going to multiply -4 times a times c. And then later you're going to go ahead on the bottom multiply 2 times -1. After that, another step you need, I guess, would be step 3, is to simplify this square root. 9 minus 8, that gave me 1. So now you have that, and then you can simplify again. That'd be like another extra step. And now you'd be at -3 plus or minus 1 all over -2. And then the final step is to actually solve it out. -3 plus 1, that would be -2, divided by -2, that gives you 1. Then do the other one, -3 minus 1, that gives you -4, divided by -2, that gives you 2. Okay, so those are the two zeros. Alright, so I guess that's it. Just remember that this discriminant, right, if it's 0, that means you're only going to get 1 0. If it's negative, there will be no zeros. And that's something we'll do more of. Some of the problems in your homework might have that, but some of them might not. Okay. Alright, that's it. I'll see you guys in class.